to the split fiction fans out there, uh, that a massive thank you from me for sharing the way that you've been receiving this game. I was expecting it to be a success, but I suppose I wasn't expecting for it to move so many people on a deeper emotional, personal level. I know that Mio's character, for example, can be a little bit like, you know, oil and water in that you either relate to her or you don't. And that is okay. But I've received quite a few messages from people who are really moved by Mio's transformation and growth and watching her journey of learning to trust Zoe and allow some love and light into her life, and hearing from the fans about how that made them reflect on their own situations has been incredibly moving to me, and I'm so grateful to be part of that journey with you. And yeah, spread the love. Hi, my name is Kaja Chan, and you are watching Hawaii's #1 podcast. You might know me as Neo from Split Fiction. I've also played Lupa in Wuthering Waves, and I'm going to be starring across Jeff Goldblum in the upcoming Jurassic World Evolution 3. Enjoy!
Crap, what's the name of my show?
And that is how Mekel starts his podcast, everybody.
I know, right? It's oh
What a
my
strong first
goodness.
impression.
I know. It's like, wow, what's the name of it? And it's like one of the situations where I'm going to be like, oh, do you remember the name of my show? You're like, no, I'm the guest. Anyway, with that being said, aloha and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I am joined today by the one, the only, the phenomenal Kaja Chan. Kaja, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm nervous. I forgot the name of my show. That's how we started out. I'm keeping this in for the full thing. You know, we gotta start the show with something funny. You know, people are gonna be like,
Yeah,
"What?"
I think if we start at the very bottom, everyone can relax. We all know what this is about. Now we can only improve.
True. So, how aside from my gaff starting this podcast, how has your day been? Your day's just starting. It's
Just
super
started.
early in the morning over there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not usually up this early either, but like, yeah, it's been
We
really
could have started
lovely.
later. We
No,
could have
I've
started
got
later.
stuff to do today. I've got a schedule, so I've got to stick to it. So, but it's actually quite nice because it's finally summer in London, which is where I am. So the sun's out. I got up early, had a coffee, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do this more often. You know.
What is the weather like typically over there? Is it typically rainy, hot, in
It's
between?
I would imagine that in Hawaii, when it rains, it really rains. It's like torrential, strong rain, like in, or not so much.
Eh,
I I grew
it's 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 weird because like it'll rain here and you can look up and you're like, wait, I still see the blue sky, I see the
mm,
sun, but where's all
hmm
this rain coming from? Yeah, it's oh, is it? It's like that there?
So in Hong Kong, which is where I grew up, it
Okay.
can be like that, but usually when it rains, it commits to the bit, it commits to the act of raining. But London
Hmm.
is like maybe 70%, 80% of the time it's like a little drizzle. It's like it's raining, but not enough for you to pull an umbrella out and not enough for you to cancel your plans. But it's just like constantly spittling onto you. So when it's nice like this and the sun is out and there's not a cloud in sight, I'm like, oh, gotta use it. Get the sunscreen out, you know.
Okay. So, all right. So before we even dive into it, I gotta go ahead and because there's going to be like two people in the back who are like, ooh, who's your guest? But everyone else, my audience has been really excited for this one. So for you guys who don't know, Kaya is the voice of Mio in the critically acclaimed Split Fiction, now available on Nintendo Switch 2. If you haven't picked it up, pick it up. And so many other titles. You've done Cyberpunk 2077, Wuthering Waves,
Yeah.
and you done so much within TV series and theater and such. So for the two people in the back, yeah, I see you who don't know. Now you know.
I see you too. It's okay.
So, what is a typical day like for you?
Mm. Oh, I guess it depends on the time of year. It depends on how busy I am. if it's a free day to myself, I'll wake up whenever. I'll have a
Hmm.
coffee and a banana and I'll go to the gym. I will spend like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours there maximum if I'm a bit slow paced. Get back, have lunch, which is like kind of my first proper meal of the day,
Hmm.
and then I'll
Oh,
work
you're
on
like
some
me. I do the
scenes.
same thing.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
eat
I don't
until
know.
like lunchtime.
Breakfast is fake. I think breakfast is like
Right?
Kellogg PR or something. I
Right.
don't.
It
It's
is.
we don't need breakfast. And then I'll be working on scenes. So maybe I have a piece of writing that I need to prepare for an audition or for a
Hmm.
job coming up or even for an acting class, which I like go to regularly. So I'll spend maybe a couple of hours working on that. Maybe I'll have an audition, or maybe I'll get coffee. I'll have coffee meeting with an actor or someone in the industry or a friend,
Hmm.
and then dinner, and then binge watch a really good TV show. Or if I'm in a social mood, maybe I'll go out salsa dancing for like a Latin dance night or something. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, very very creative, chill kind of schedule.
Okay. Okay. So you're busy a lot. So how often do you even get a moment of free time typically?
Oh gosh, I have this thing where I'll say, "Oh, I have nothing lined up next month. I have no plans. I have no jobs. I have nothing." And then I'll get to that month and I will have no free time whatsoever. I would say I I always have something to do. And I think
Okay.
that's the nature of creative work. You never clock off. You never
Yeah,
clock
you
out.
no.
You
No.
just there's always something more to be done, let even as simple as if I had no plans today, then I'm like, yeah, but I still need to read my friend's screenplay. Oh yeah, but I still need to read this play in preparation for this class that I'm taking 3 weeks from now or like 2 weeks from now. Oh, there's always something to be done. um but yeah, I would say I have a day off, true day off, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week if I'm fortunate.
And even then, do you really have a day off? Because, like, literally, you got all the stuff in your head, like, okay, I'm off, but your body is so used to, like, doing
Still
stuff, and your mind is just
100%.
going. So it's like
Yeah.
sitting still, you're like, I need to get up and do something, you
Yeah.
know?
And even on a day off, like what does my day off look like? I go to the theater to watch a play that maybe a friend is in or a friend recommended. And while I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, that was really interesting. How can I recreate that? How can I learn from this? It's never a day off. Don't
Okay,
do the
so
creative industries, y'all. Don't do it. Don't do it. Work
seriously,
in a bank.
do not, because like if you're so used to, and it's interesting because I have to tell a lot of as a lot of people are like, oh, I'd rather be a creative because I get the freedom to do what I want. I'm like, you think that you get to do what you want, which in some aspects you do, but you're
Mhm.
always doing something. There is no
Mm,
clock on, clock off. And I feel
mm.
like a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to being a creative. Like
Yeah.
it's nonstop go.
Yeah. And I'm sure you totally understand. I mean, especially if you have guests from all around the world, like you kind of have to be on for all of the different time zones as well. Mm.
Yeah. And between that, traveling, yeah, it's one of the things, especially when it's like trying to line up different time zones. Like
Mm.
Hawaii, I say this all the time. People are like, "You're joking, right?" I'm like, "No, Hawaii's at the ass end of the time zone." So it's like we don't go forward, we don't go back, like every other place in the world does. So I'm like, "All right, okay, so I need to calculate this. Okay,
Yeah.
what's the time difference? Oh wait, are they springing forward? Are they falling back? Oh crap, is there something else?"
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I've
So
made I've made the mistake of scheduling things to Greenwich Mean Time when it was British summertime. I'm like, I don't even know the difference. But like we're sat here bitching, but we do love what we do, and we probably could not imagine doing anything else.
yes.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. I think actors are so good at complaining about acting, and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
you have the
Oh yeah.
same with what you do. We're just so good at it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like I do have a theater background, so I did
Mhm.
theater in high school and college and some stuff outside of college. And it's like, it's so true what you say. Like, we do. We literally do
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like a love-hate
Oh,
relationship. It's like feeding you, and you're like, yeah, I want more.
I know, right? Right?
Give me
Uh,
more.
Okay, so I'm gonna warn you. This is a type of podcast where it's not the typical QA thing. It's more about
Okay.
organic conversation. So
I'm
don't
into
ever feel
it.
like, oh, I'm gonna like. Okay, so there's a reason behind this, right?
Hmm.
So the reason I like to do that, I love talking to people. Like if I go out somewhere, I people watch. If I'm at the gym, I'm chatting it up with different people there, and I just like having conversations and getting to learn more about the person. Like I feel like a lot of podcasts or interviews I've seen, a lot of the questions that people ask, I'm like, you can just Google that shit. Like let's just have
Hmm.
a conversation. Like let's make it so like we're sitting across from each other, maybe at a Starbucks. I know, horrible coffee, but it's everywhere. But like imagine we're sitting across from each other, we're having a
Hmm.
cup of coffee, we're just, talking story as we say in Hawaii. And that's kind of like the vibe I like to go for.
Amazing. I'm up for that.
So all right. So you do a lot of TV shows, plays, and such. What was the thing that got you into theater and the creative arts? Was it something you
Mm,
always knew you wanted to do, or spur of the moment, you're like, I'm locked in, let's go ahead and just go all the way with it?
yeah, I think I always wanted to be an actor for as long as I can
Okay.
remember. And my earliest memory of that was I was 6 years old, and I
Hmm.
remember wanting to be Anne Hathaway. And
Oh,
I don't think I could understand what that was. I just knew that I
mm,
wanted to be her. And I think
yeah.
as I got older, I understood that what I was pining for was the fact that, because she was in Princess Diaries, she was in,
Yeah.
all of the films I was watching at the time, and I wanted that. I wanted to be able to do
Hmm.
what she was doing. Um, and yeah, I was never able to shake it throughout my like adolescence. I was like, okay, no, but maybe I can try being a doctor. Maybe I can try being a lawyer. Really try to convince myself not to do acting because we all know that it's such a grind. And every
Yeah.
time I got close to convincing myself to try something else, I will fall back into it. Like I'd get cast in a play, a school production that would happen. This would happen. I managed to get accepted into a youth theater program. I never managed to run away from it. Then I came to uni in the UK and I chose a degree that wasn't acting. I was like, okay, if acting doesn't work out, I'll have this. And what did I do for 3 years? I acted nonstop, and I hustled my way into the industry without doing any kind of drama school. So yeah, that's how that was my
Whoa.
start. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So okay. Couple things on that. First thing,
Mm.
I gotta throw this out there. What is your favorite Anne Hathaway movie?
I mean, Devil Wears Prada is such a classic, isn't it?
True,
My
it is.
family also, and this is going potentially controversial. Show my family loved Les Mis, the movie musical, and I rewatched it recently, and I was like, I'm not sure that this was as fire as I remember, but there was something about the still camera on these actors just singing their souls, and Anne Hathaway in that is totally remarkable, and I that was, yeah, I really really did enjoy that. But yeah, Devil Wears Prada is such a classic.
Okay. Okay. Second question. Have you ever got to meet Anne Hathaway?
No, I've not. I've actually never, no. I've met a few celebrities, but never her.
Okay, I got to connect you. One of my best friends is Chris Van Vliet, so he interviews celebrities all the time and wrestlers and
Yeah.
such. And he's got one of these most iconic interviews with Anne Hathaway, where I think like it kind of seems like they're flirting. They're like playing off of each
Yeah.
other. It's such a funny. Yeah, I gotta
Oh
connect
my
you guys.
God. Yeah, she seems really
Yeah,
cool. She seems really cool.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so another question, a quick question I have for you is your accent. It like
Mm.
comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, is English your first language?
Yes.
Lucky. It's not mine.
Is it not yours? What's your first language?
No. First language is Samoan, second is Tongan, third is Hawaiian or Olelo Hawaiian, and fourth is English.
Oh my God, you're so talented. You're so skilled. That's insane.
Yeah,
That is incredible.
I didn't learn English until I was 7, 8.
Mm.
That's when I moved to the United States, but I'm originally from Western Samoa.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Are these languages at all similar, or are they just totally different systems?
Samoan and Tongan are very, very similar.
Hmm.
Structurally, I mean, also like the history of some Samoa and Tonga is very, very interconnected. Still kind of a small little beef between Samoa
Mm.
and Tonga, and it's kind of interesting being Samoan and Tongan. And it's like people are like, oh, you're both, yeah.
Oh,
Samoa,
wow.
are
And they're like,
you said, yeah, it's like, are you
friend or
Crips or Bloods?
foe?
I know, right? It's so weird. But like those two languages are very very phonetically similar. There's a lot of
Mm.
crossover, but there's some very sharp differences. But Hawaiian or Alelo Hawaiian is that one's actually the most different
Hmm.
phonetically compared to this. So there's slight, but not anywhere near as much. And in English, I was just like, uh, so I have a bit of a southern twang just because I learned it when I was in the South, and
Mm.
I had to drop that as I got older because when I left because I moved to Tennessee. My dad's originally he's Dominican. He's from Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm.
We moved there when I was seven ish, eight. Learned English there. It took me well, actually, no, I was probably like eight going on nine when I finally got English, and then left there. Came here to Hawaii when I was like 15, 16. People were like, "What are you saying?" I'm
They
like,
wouldn't
"Oh, okay."
understand you.
No, my southern drawl was so thick you would think, stereotypical southern. Yeah, I
Do you
don't.
still have it in you? Can you tap into
It,
it?
oh yeah, it can come. It comes out, and I'm just like,
And
oh
you're like,
god, cringe.
it's not cringe. It's such a lovely accent. I think it's really lovely. I think it's so musical and like, yeah. Like, I feel the summer heat. I don't know why when I hear that accent. We can do the rest of this conversation with that accent if you want. I'm gonna
Oh,
just.
so you want me to talk in a southern twang?
Way!
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
That's no, but it is real, like when you realize just like how many different iterations one language can have and
Yeah.
needing to make yourself understood. I mean, when I moved to the UK, I thought I spoke English. And then and I moved into Southeast London and like there were a lot of South Londoners there and they were saying words that I've never heard before and like in accents and intonations that I've never heard before. And I was like,
Hmm.
I need to learn English again, apparently. Mm, yeah.
Okay, so that explains like why, because it's like you kind of slip in and out of it. I'm like, it's so cool that you're able to do it. And when you were voicing Mio, I never would have thought you'd had an
Really?
accent.
You would you thought
I
would you
thought you.
did you think I was American?
I did.
That's a good
I
thing.
did.
Yes.
Like I couldn't tell. I couldn't pick up on anything. And then when I started checking out your other stuff, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I
where's
was
this bitch
wrong.
from? Yeah, I would. Okay, a lot of people do ask me that. The first guesses I'll get is people will ask if I'm from the States, and then some people will ask because they're scared of offending me by asking if I'm from the States for some reason. So they'll ask if I'm Canadian instead, which is so
Are you
silly.
Canadian? Are you Canadian? Eh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, someone told me like they will always ask if someone's Canadian because if they ask a Canadian if they're American, the Canadian will get really offended. So now they just default
Yes.
to, "Are you Canadian?" Because the Americans will be flattered by that, which I just thought is such like interesting geopolitical like quirk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people will ask if I'm Scottish or Irish, but it's very, very rare. Because I don't
Really?
think I sound, yeah, I don't think I sound
I didn't
anything like those. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. Yeah.
know.
But what my accent is like the international school accent where I grew up in Asia and many Southeast Asian kids have this accent. Um, and the teachers that we had were all English because I went to like
Hmm.
a British school, like colonial hangover British school.
Hmm.
Um, all the teachers are English, so I pick up saying like things like tomato, and I can't, things like that. I would say fringe instead of bangs. I'd say uh, rubbish bin instead of like trash can or something. But
Yeah.
our parents don't speak English as a first language. My dad has a Cantonese accent, my mum has a Polish accent. So where did I pick up my accent from? I primarily watched Asian YouTube growing up. So all
Mm,
of the Kev Jumbas and the Ryan Higa and all of these guys, they were my main point of call for how to sound. So I grew up sounding super American with English words, and then I moved to the UK and it kind of like balanced out. So I'm kind of in
yeah.
between both cultures. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And do you speak Cantonese as well, or?
Yeah, I don't speak Cantonese as well as I speak English. Because the
Okay.
person who taught me Cantonese was my grandmother when she moved in with us when I was 10. So I started learning
Hmm.
Cantonese from the age of 10. But yeah, I speak English as a first language and Cantonese and Polish and Mandarin as second languages. But I'm taking
Wow.
classes to continue improving because I don't think I speak nearly as fluently as you speak your four languages. That is insane. I cannot believe English is your fourth language. What a flex. Mm.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like people are like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I get
Yeah,
it so often out here. People are like, "Where are you from?" And so like, okay, this is an insider. If you ever come out here to Hawaii, I don't know if you've been out here to Hawaii, but
never. I'd
anytime
love
someone,
to.
okay, we can work on that. I do media
Mm.
for the conventions out here, so we'll talk about that. Anyway, so it's interesting because if anyone in Hawaii asks you where you're from, don't get defensive. Isn't this, you're not gonna get jumped or anything. It's just like
Mm.
it's because you sound so different than what they're used to. Like
Mhm.
if so I'm on Oahu, I live in Waikiki, in Honolulu. So if I go to the west side, then if I'm in Waipahu or anything, people have a super thick what we call moke accent, which is
Mo.
pidgin, which is
Ah,
technically a language out here in Hawaiian, which is broken English. It's kind of like patois or something like that.
yeah.
So people over there speak it super thick, and it's like if you've never heard it, and then you start speaking proper English, people are going to be like, "Where are you from?" And it's
Mm.
like, and the body language can come off threatening, but it's harmless. It's like, oh, where are you from? Because you don't sound like anyone here. And so I
Yeah.
get that all the time from
Do
people in Hawaii. I get it.
you?
Yeah, when I go to Samoa, people are like,
Yeah.
"Where are you from?" I'm like, "Here." What? Yeah, you
But
don't
you're not
sound.
like us.
I'm like, and then like, especially like with my tattoo, like
Mm.
it's probably blurry, you can't see it, but like people often ask me, they're like, especially Samoans and Tongan, they're like, "Oh, do you know what that means?" Yeah, I got it done traditionally, which means
Mm.
shark tooth and hammer, and they tapped
Mm.
the whole
Mm.
way. That was painful.
Mm.
And they're
Oh
like,
my
"Oh,
God.
oh, oh." They're like, "Oh, you know what I mean?"
Well, you're really
Yeah,
one of us, really one of us. Yeah.
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 One of us.
I
But
think it's
yeah,
interesting how quick people are to try and categorize, and if someone doesn't fit
yeah,
into a perfect box, it does kind of I think disturb people, and I
yeah,
think I have time for it. I kind of understand it, but the world is so mixed, and being
yeah.
mixed is not a recent phenomenon. Like it's been there since as long
No,
as humans have been. So I find it interesting that so many people, or like maybe just how our society functions, still hasn't really adapted to be able to handle that people can be from where you are but sound different, look different,
yeah.
can speak languages or sound like nothing like you, despite being raised in the village next door, right? Yeah.
It's interesting too, like to add on to that. Yeah, like it's wild when I see how like we're in 2025 and people are still like befuddled that you can be mixed, but it's like some people would be like, "Oh, you need to pick one or other
Mm,
ethnicity you're mixed with," and it's like, yeah, but I'm all of it. Especially if
mm,
you're raised in it and you identify with all of it, like it can be rough. It can be rough.
yeah.
But
When you're
I
asked
feel
to
like it's
categorize yourself neatly, and that people can't, you just cannot be spliced into
no.
fractions. It's just not doable.
Yeah. So, okay. So I have to ask you, what are some of the places that you've traveled to that you absolutely love to go to?
Mm, I loved Sardinia. I don't know. Do you know where Sardinia is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I didn't know about it before I went. It's just this island off the coast of Italy. It's part of Italy. And I fucking loved it. It was so beautiful. It was really affordable. We did a road trip all the way around the island, and especially the beaches on the East Coast, like secluded beaches that you can only reach by boat, with incredible cave and rock formations, which for some reason really gets me going. Like,
Did you
whoa.
like vlog all that?
No, I took loads of pictures. I did
Oh,
lots of
okay.
videos, loads of pictures. And the water was blue, and the Mediterranean Sea is like it's quite easy to swim in, maybe because of the salt content. So you're kind of floating. The water is warm as well that time of year. Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. The food was amazing. The people were so lovely. The old towns as well. Yeah, I like a little bit of beach getaway
Hmm.
with quaint villages. That's my
Okay.
jam.
Okay. Top three places then.
Top three places.
Aside
Okay,
from that.
Sardinia. Just thinking, where have I been? Well, is it cheating if I say my own hometown?
No, no, no.
I think Hong Kong is amazing. I think it's a really, really cool place. I would argue that it's actually more interesting to live there than it is to travel there. Because if
Really?
yeah, because I that's my take. I think if someone wants a beach holiday, they shouldn't go to Hong Kong, despite the many really cool beaches they have. They should go to Thailand. They should go
Hmm.
to Malaysia. If someone wants a cityscape, then they should go to Tokyo. If someone wants like a
Hmm.
food adventure, maybe they should go to Malaysia or Singapore, like where there's like so much access to Southeast Asian cuisine in one spot. Um, but Hong Kong is like that perfect place where if you have 2, 3 weeks and you just want to go somewhere where which has a bit of everything, it is that. It is like a
Hmm.
massive playground. So I really do. I There's nothing that I love more than being a tour guide for my friends who visit me in Hong Kong and showing them all of
Okay.
the little things that you can do and the history. That the history is so varied that you can see it in the way that the city is structured, that it is like a clash of cultures and political systems and ideas and food and yeah, I love Hong Kong. Um, and a third place would be, I don't know. Yeah, come back to me on that. Come back to
Okay,
me on that.
okay, okay. We'll circle back on that. But staying on the topic of travel,
Mm,
I personally find that it is absolutely crucial to travel the world to see
mm,
different places, different people, different cultures, experience different foods, because I feel like it helps you become more not only cultured but more well-rounded, more informed
yeah.
about how different, how similar, and how different other places and people can be. Whereas it's interesting because I meet a lot of people, especially out here in Hawaii and also in Samoa and Tonga, that have never left, their either their village, their city, their neighborhood, never been on a plane. And I'm just like, you can't just trust Reddit and the internet for everything. You gotta go out and travel. Like I find it because one of the things I get to do, I get to speak at high schools to the youth and such, and also
Mm,
colleges. And I tell the young people, I'm like, hey, you're young, go travel, like go
yeah.
see the world. It's so crucial.
Mm.
But in your opinion, like how important would you say travel is, and how impactful has it been on your life?
I It has been incredibly important to me just purely on the basis that I'm half Polish and half Hong Kong Chinese. My mom's
Mm-hmm.
family live in Poland and my dad's family are all in Hong Kong. And if it weren't for travel, I would not know half of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And traveling is what allowed my parents to ever meet and to exchange ideas. And and I think for that reason, like without it, I would not even exist, or I would not be able to exist fully in connection with both sides of my heritage. So I grew up traveling between both cities, both countries, and now in adulthood, I'm like spending more time traveling on my own or with friends, like making the effort to see countries. Like the third place would be Cambodia. Cambodia was amazing. Um,
Okay.
and I think I mean, I'm aware that some people have the privilege to travel more than others. If you have a full-time job at working minimum wage, it can be really difficult to find time and means to travel.
Yeah.
But if you can travel, 100% take the opportunity, because it is sometimes so easy to assume or to project the way that we operate or the world that we know onto other people. And
Yeah.
I I think the biggest departure from how my brain operates was when I went to Cambodia and seeing how everyone there operates. The pace, just how people deal with adversity, or how, like the strength of spirit or the fun or the food, the way that people celebrate their traditions there. Everything was so different that it did kind of make me reassess what it is that I value
Hmm.
in my life. And yes, I still came back to London and continued doing exactly what I was doing. I wouldn't say that I fundamentally changed as a person, but knowing and being able to witness that there are so many different possibilities in terms of how we live our lives, I think is a really awesome, uh, empowering thing to witness and
Yeah.
to actually experience.
Yeah. It
Mm.
definitely is. Okay. So you said Cambodia. So what was it like there when you got to travel? How was the food? I'm a foodie,
The food
so
was so good. The food was so good. I love a curry. I love a South Asian, Southeast Asian curry, like all of them, all of the different types, and they're all so different. So, Khmer cuisine, which is like the cuisine that they have there, because they're all ethnically Cambodians are general. The main ethnicity there is Khmer. Um, and the curry was so different to what I was used to, like really, really different flavors. Not as
hmm.
maybe sweet and creamy as like Thai curry, not the same spices as Indian curry. So it was just totally different. Um, and yeah, every place had so much good food. But my favorite thing was that you'd go to a street market, and no matter where you went, there would always be a stand with mango smoothies, or like
Hmm.
all of the frozen crushed whatever, which you cannot get a good smoothie in London. I don't know what is wrong with this country, but every time I order a
Really?
smoothie, it's like kind of warm. It's not slushy enough. It's not frozen enough. It's too sweet or not sweet enough. But listen, every single smoothie I had in Cambodia, they were putting the elixir of heaven inside and giving it to me. And it was, mwah! And the morning glory, stir fried morning glory. People are so nice there. Um, and at one of the food stalls, the stir fried morning glory was so good that I went up to the lady and I was like, Auntie, can you show me how? And she was like, video, video, video. And like this random Cambodian grandma is teaching me how to stir fry her morning glory. It was so good.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, so I gotta add Cambodia to the list of places I need to
Yeah.
go travel.
Yeah. Just go
Okay,
at least to see Angkor Wat and Siem Reap, and the archaeological history there is something else. It's amazing.
okay, okay, okay. So questions about acting.
Mm.
When you're preparing for a role, are you the type where you get into the mind and psychology of the character? Like, are you a method actor, or how do you approach acting?
I think method is an interesting one because it can refer to the Stanislavski method, which is arguably the foundation of most modern acting techniques,
Hmm.
in terms of naturalism and all that. And yeah, I would say that I've definitely used lots of Stanislavski ideas and ideas from acting practitioners who base their work off of Stanislavski. Um, However, I don't do the Lee Strasberg method, which is usually what we refer to with that. Like, for example, Daniel Day-Lewis or Leonardo DiCaprio has been known to use it when you like total immersion in that character. I've, I think I would consider it. There's maybe a future where I play a role in a film or TV show, or where I think, oh, I think the only way to really understand this is total immersion. But I've not had that role just yet. So for now, I'm mostly interested in exactly the psychology of the character, basic acting questions like what do they want? What's the obstacle? What happens if they don't get it? What is their character problem? Is I
Hmm.
think the really important question in terms of like what is the one problem in their life that drives them forward? Is it the fact that they've never been seen before? Is it the fact that they want to leave a mark on this world? Is it that they were never loved by their mother, or always felt inferior to their brother? And identifying the character problem really helps me. So it's these kinds of psychological questions that I work a lot with.
Yeah, dealing with the existential crisis that the character has
Hmm.
is like just psychologically picking apart characters is so fun. For those of y'all who are not familiar with acting, that's very much an important part of it. It's so fun. Um, I've done method acting before, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I get kind of caught up in the character.
Mm.
Um, and I've had some guests before that have done method acting like full on, and they're like, yeah, I had to have a therapist to help me come out
Unwind,
of that. Yeah.
for
So it's like, oh,
certain.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's what it is that um, I think I agree with people like Meryl Streep who don't believe that you need to be a method actor in order to do the job. And
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Day-Lewis says that the reason why he does method acting is because he's a bad actor, and the only way he could do it is total immersion, which I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's true. I wonder if it's like if it's a trust thing. Like if you trust yourself to be able to do the job without total immersion, maybe
Yeah.
that's all it takes. Um, yeah, I think I'm aware of the consequences of total immersion, and that's why I'm very careful with that. And I'll let you know if I try it one day from
Okay.
rehab. I'll call you from my psych ward, like, Mekel, listen, that was a mistake. Bail me out.
I'm like, all right, all right.
Yeah.
Uh, so, on an average, how many projects are you working on a week as far as like on screen acting?
It totally, it depends. It totally depends. But normally, I'm not, if, in terms of actual jobs and not auditions, I'm not normally working on more than one at a time.
Okay.
Just by the nature of scheduling. So if I'm on a TV show, I'm working on that TV show, and I'll be aware that, oh, I've got a film a month from now, but I'm not thinking about that until I'm done with this TV show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say the most I've had to juggle in terms of video games, I'm juggling them all the time. Like I've got plenty of games going on at the same time, and the scheduling of games is a little bit easier in that there's it's often in short bursts. So
Mm-hmm.
2 days of voiceover, 3 days of mocap, maybe a week of voiceover. But if you're committing to a TV show or a film, it can be weeks to a month, right? So
Okay.
yeah, so games many a time, TV and film probably not more than one, maybe two at a time.
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned motion capture. How did you get into doing that? Did you stumble into it? Is there like what's the story? Let's
One
let's hop in a DeLorean and
big
go with that.
clumsy stumble into motion capture. I'd always wanted to do motion capture. It was one of my ambitions creatively. It just looked like so much fun. And my acting agent sends me this audition for this working title split by Hazelight Studios, the creators of It Takes Two. And I was like, oh, I don't have any motion capture experience, so I'm probably, not suited for it. But I read the character and I was like, I think I am this character. I think I could get this part. And yeah, we just did some auditions and we got the part. And I was like, oh, I didn't have to get into a suit. I didn't have to prove to them that I could do motion capture, and not at all. And I think I learned that, any actor can do motion capture as long as they're, confident in their bodies. And ideally, every actor is working towards that regardless of motion capture. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I totally stumbled into it. Very, very, very happy about that.
Do you find cause I definitely wanted to I know the audience is gonna be like, when are you guys gonna talk about split fiction? We're getting there. Pause. Relax, you're gonna get some
Patience,
later.
patience.
Wait, that sounded wrong. Anyways. Anyway, sorry, it's late. My mind just had
Mm.
a brain fart. Anyways, how when it comes to like doing voiceover for video games, like how fun and or stressful does that usually get?
Voiceover. for me is only ever stressful if the voice is extremely different from mine in a way that's not sustainable.
Mm.
I had a job which they booked me based off of my reel. So they just heard my voice and they booked me. And I went in to record it and they're like, "Oh, can you go higher?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can higher, 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 higher." And they're like, "Airier, airier." And they're like, "Yes, perfect. Now let's do 25 hours of that." And I was like, "Ah."
Oh.
What? And the thing is that I love a challenge and I love voicing things really really different to myself. I love acting really far away from myself. But with voice, it is you have to be so careful with sustaining sounds that are not comfortable in your range for really long periods of time because you could lose it or
Yeah.
damage it, and then you have to cancel the TV set that you're doing tomorrow, or you have to explain to the casting directors of the musical that you're auditioning for that you don't have a voice this week. So yeah, that's the most stressful that it gets. But in terms of actually doing the work, never stressful. Voiceover is just pure joy and play.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How much would you say like there's an overlap between doing on camera work to voice acting? Because I feel like it could be very difficult trying to transition from acting with your whole body to just with your face. Oh, not your face, not your face. Yeah, this is how you know it's really late for me and I've been up a long time.
With your
Your voice, with
voice.
your
Yeah.
voice.
Okay. So the first ever job I did, paid acting job I ever did was a voiceover job.
Hmm.
I was 17. I was in Hong Kong, and someone was looking for someone who could do Peppa Pig. I don't know if you're
Hmm.
familiar with this British cartoon. And
Yeah.
yeah, and someone was looking for a Peppa Pig impression because they were applying for a tender to create all of the voiceover for this new Peppa Pig learning website, and they used my voice to submit. Um, it was a director who'd worked with me in on a play of The Secret Garden where I played 10-year-old Mary Lennox when I was 17. Had put my
Wow.
name to this voiceover producer, and the voiceover producer called me and they're like, "Hi, is this Kaya?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Oh, no, 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 this is a mistake. I'm looking for a child actor. Never mind." And then ended the call. And then 10 minutes later, he calls me again, like, "Okay, my director friend insisted that I meet you. Like, can you do children's voices?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Okay, let's meet." And I did this Peppa Pig impression, and it was, according to him, spot on. And I started working with him on other projects. AirPods falling all
You're
over the
fine.
place.
I know
Mostly,
I keep having to readjust mine, so I
yeah,
understand. No worries.
mostly dubbing, but dubbing projects. So voiceover was my introduction, and it's not been difficult for me to go back into voice. It's more actually I find the television medium a lot more challenging, technically challenging because of the full body immersion aspect of it. Voice for me is like, okay, let's go into a room and play, and someone records
Mhm.
me and pays me to do that.
Okay. Okay.
And I think the only trick with voice is, apart from, working on enunciation and warming up the voice before doing a voiceover job, is just going for it. And I think
Yeah.
there are aspects of TV and film which sometimes feel like you can't always go for it because you're scared of maybe overacting or not being naturalistic, or you're messing with the energy of the scene, you're messing with your scene part. Like, you kind of, it's a totally different discipline and medium. But voiceover is like, just go for it. Just do it. There's no consequences if you overdo it. They'll just dial you down a little bit, tell you to, like, lighten your P's so that you don't pop the mic as much. But that's it. That's what I really love about it.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
And you've done obviously theater, musicals as well. So
Years ago. It's been a while. It's been a while.
are you looking to like want to do musicals again, or is it with your current workload? It's like if I can, I can. If not,
I like I loved musicals growing up, and that was my way in for sure through school productions. And musicals are often like the route that youth theaters take to
hmm
involve so many children. Um, I haven't done musicals in a while because I can sing, but I don't think that I have the same level of technique and strength as like some of these musical theater talented people are.
You
Yeah, so
sing
I'm
like Taylor Swift. Come on, be honest.
no, I actually I go for a more jazzy quality. That's my thing, like a jazzy kind of
Okay.
maybe even soul kind of vibe, which doesn't really
Okay.
work or is not necessarily compatible with most commercial musical theater. So I'm not
Really?
against eventually doing a musical, but I think it
Okay.
would have to be the right one and probably an indie musical rather than a commercial one because the brassy quality and like it's like so clean and a musical theater styling of most musical theater I don't have that and I don't it doesn't really match me I don't think
Okay. Okay.
yeah
All right. So, winding down to the last couple questions, because yeah, we're gonna get into split fiction. I
hmm
gotta ask you, voicing Mio, how much of yourself was in that character, or was allowed to be in that character, or that you
I
identified with?
yeah it's funny because I don't think I'm anything like Mio. However, I've played a few characters that are on that Mio spectrum of tough outer shell, hard to befriend, has lots of secrets, wants to get shit done. I there must be something in me that is Mio coded. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting these parts. I would say perhaps I really understand Mio's need to get shit done without talking about it too much.
Yeah.
And I don't personally have that quality in myself because I can yap endlessly for hours. But maybe deep down, I'm just the type of person who just wants to be able to, yeah, like to produce things to get shit done to be successful as she wants to be a successful writer. Um, and I think maybe I can empathize with Mio, who all she wants is to be loved, but she doesn't know how to ask for it. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't think she's necessarily taught. She's never been taught how to ask for it. And
Yeah.
just like the little girl inside who all she wants is friends and all she wants is to be taken care of, but she doesn't know how to ask for it and has never been able to rely on people around her to do that, and therefore she relies solely on herself. And I think I can understand that, like choosing to not trust because at least you know that your own standards are high and you can trust yourself. I think I understand that.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Definitely relatable. Would you? Okay. So, yeah, how did you get into the? Did they tell you the type of accent that they wanted for Mio? Because, like,
Yeah.
okay, so when
They
you got, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, you go.
No, I was gonna say because, like, yeah, I'm just because I just played it again. I'm writing up the review for the
Mm.
Switch version, and I'm just like, man, like just hearing you deliver your lines, like there is no. I would think you're from New York, you know, like.
I'm so flattered. I'm so flattered. I mostly do work in American accent, by the way. British people think I sound
Okay.
American. British people think I am American, right?
Hmm.
Most so that is my niche in the UK, which is why I think I'm quite well positioned here, is that I can play the East Asian American,
Hmm.
or the mixed Asian American kind of vibe. So I'm very comfortable doing work in American accent stuff. When they were casting this, they wanted both Elsie and I to be American. And then we
Hmm.
did the first round of recording, and maybe Elsie told you this story. And they were like, "Oh, we need to differentiate them a little bit more because our voices were maybe sounding not distinct enough in gameplay." And so they
Hmm.
decided to make Elsie use her own accent, and I stayed American. And then they also lowered my register for the reshoots. So I was doing most of Mio in my own register, and then from reshoots on, it was like, "I'm Mio, hi," but better. That, but better. And yeah, I thought I had an American accent growing up, but then the first ever TV job I did, I looked at my schedule. There was costume fitting, makeup fitting, and then dialect coach. And I was like, I don't need a dialect coach for American. And I met this coach, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure why I'm here because I have an American accent. And he heard me, he was like, no, you don't. I was like, yeah, I do. No, you don't. And I was like, what? So that's, yeah, I've had to master my American accent because that's the kind of work that I mostly do.
Okay. Okay. Um, it's okay. So I know I asked this question to Elsie when I did the interview with her, but like you guys just have such a dynamic with your characters with Zoe and Mia, and it's just like it often just sounded like you guys were just recording in the same room and
We always
just
were.
like
We always were
okay,
recording in the same room.
okay,
This was a
like it.
haze light non-negotiable. Everything we did was together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unusual because it costs the client so much more and it is so much so not time efficient. But
Hmm.
I think you can tell because every conversation we had was an actual conversation. We were not recording our lines separately.
Okay. Yeah, because okay, so one of the things, like, I really got to commend you guys on your performances. It was absolutely stellar.
Oh,
And
thank you.
as you know, growing up listening to voice acting in anime and video games over the last, God, I'm really dating myself. Anime, 30 years. Video games, 25 plus. Well, no,
Okay.
I'm kind of 30. And, voice acting in video games, 25 years. Anyways,
Yeah, it's been a while.
um, it's been a while. It's been a while. So I'm so used to, well, it's not this way now, but like for the longest, I was so used to, just hearing a voice, just coming out of a character. I not really feeling that the character was alive, and that's not trying to downplay anyone's voice acting or anything like that. But like the way, I think this is how I can tell like a lot of people have a theater background is like you bring the character to life with your voice, your inflection, your tone, your delivery, and everything like that. And you guys just absolutely killed it, and it's like
Ooh.
you made those characters feel so real, and that's especially in anime and video games and just in general with voice acting, I don't feel that often. And so I just really want to thank you and Elsie for that, because it's like it was so real, like it was so relatable, like your characters felt like, okay, I'm not just looking at a screen and controlling the character and listening to the character. It's like, no, this character is real, like I could run into someone like that. Like that was so,
Oh,
it was so well done. Yeah.
thank you so much. I think, I mean, I would love to take credit for that, but I do think a lot of that does come down to the work that Hazelight team were doing and Joseph as well. The the storyline and the worlds that they created for each character made it really impossible to not know the character so comprehensively. Like, I think with a lot of TV jobs, actors have to do a lot of filling in, like, oh, what was their childhood like? What are their fears? What do they want most? But Split Fiction as a game was like, this is what Mio's childhood was difficult, and there was a relationship with the father that's definitely worth exploring. And she's terrified of dentists. Like there are so many specific things that are written into the game, which makes it, which is such a gift to the actor because we don't have to spend hours fact finding about the character. The facts are there,
Yeah.
and you're given these facts, and you can play and you can embody these qualities, like the fact that she's afraid of dentists, or the fact that um that Elsie's character Zoe has written a short story as a child about pigs and turning into hot dogs and being slaughtered in the slaughterhouse. These are things that, whether we know it or not, they find somewhere in our system, and they are there in all of
Yeah.
our scenes. And yeah, in that sense, a lot of the work was done for us by the team and by the animators. I mean, I would imagine that a lot of why character voices feel disembodied from the character that we see in the game is something to do with maybe a lack of fluency between the voiceover department and the people directing that and the animation department. And I've lent my voice to a lot of games where I've never met the animation team, and that makes so much sense. Like that is how most games work. But I watch those games back, and I definitely do feel like, oh, that's a voice that's been kind of plastered onto this character animation. But Hazelight and every step of the journey was everything working together. The animators were constantly in the motion capture room telling us how a scene was going to work. Even in the voiceover booth, we were working with the voiceover directors. They'd often bring in animators to say like, oh, what is this action supposed to sound like? How is
Mm-hmm.
this whip different to this punch? How is that like taking a punch to the stomach? How is that different to taking a punch to the face? And having the
Mm-hmm.
animators so everything was intertwined, and multidisciplinary from start to finish. And I think that's partly why maybe the audience feels like these two characters are real and truly embodied.
Okay. Were you shocked at how astronomically successful the game was? Because what, within 24, 48 hours, over a million plus copies sold? Like, it was
No,
a smash hit.
I wasn't shocked at all. I think there's something about working with Joseph Fares, with his dynamo, blind confidence, but blind and yet informed. It is not, he's not throwing punches in the dark. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. And every day that we were on that shoot, he walked into the room like, this is going to be amazing. Everyone's going to love this game. It's going to be fantastic. And I didn't feel like he was messing around. I think he meant it. And I think we all believed it. And all of the Haze Light team, they're these like total nerds, because that's what you have to be to work in this industry. Total nerds with quiet confidence. I might be talking to maybe the most talented developer, like character animator. I don't even know the language for it. The people who are doing all the code and all the motion capture. I might be talking to the most talented person in the world who does this job, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I figured out how to do this. Yeah, it's gonna be good." And I think the quality of that gave me so much confidence. I had no doubt that it would be a success. The question was how successful, on the scale of from very successful to astronomically, groundbreakingly, record breakingly successful. I was like, where in that spectrum is it going to land?
Awesome. Awesome. No, and that team is just, team is amazing. Like every time I've got an opportunity to interview voice actors from any of their games, It Takes Two, A Way
Mm,
Out, and such, it's like everyone just says like working with Joseph and that team is just phenomenal. The guy is just an absolute genius, and
mm.
I love hearing. I gotta interview him one day.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, he goes to the States a lot. I don't know if he ever goes to any conventions. He's probably too busy cooking up the next one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So one of the other questions I have, we're gonna pivot away from Split Fiction. Please, if you haven't already, go pick it up. Available now on all platforms. Amazing game. Um, hmm. Let's see. All right. So you like to go to the gym. How come you're not doing fitness influencer stuff? There's so much money in that. But
I'm not an influencer. I can't do it. I really just, I can't. I know, I'm aware how much money there is in it. And I know that if I really worked at it, I think I could develop a good following, because there's just so many niches. Like I think, for example, Hong Kong Instagram, they love like, multicultural mixed, Hong Kong, but also here and there. Like I could totally do the lifestyle influencing. I just hate it so much. I can't do it. I don't think my life is that interesting. I think my work is interesting. I think the work is interesting. Let's talk about the work. Let's talk about the games. Let's talk about the acting. I don't think I am that interesting. I don't have any knowledge to offer you. I am the one learning from fitness influencers how to do my booty exercises. I could not teach you how to do a booty exercise. I, my cooking is all right. I cannot teach you to cook. I have no influence in the kitchen, my love. Like I've got nothing to offer you. What do you want from me? I can't do it.
oh my god! Oh, well, I was just saying because, like, I recently got into, and it's kind of crazy how I felt, literally fell into it because, like, it's
Mm.
like, okay, I'm on this fitness journey. I've been doing these workouts, just trying to get ready for strongman competitions and whatnot. I'm like, all
Ooh,
right, so let me
sick.
just just like start posting stuff, and then like other fitness influencers like, hey man, you got a really good build. Like you should start getting into fitness influencing. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can teach you. I just go and I lift heavy shit and I do cardio and that's all I do. And I eat clean. They're like, oh no, you should do it. And then like, I start having companies reach out. Hey, here's a product. We'd like to work with you. We'd like to partner with you. Here's some money. I'm like, oh, I like money. All
Mm.
right, cool. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's interesting that the fitness, and this is really behind the scenes stuff, people. The fitness influencing scene is very interesting because 99% of it is fake. A lot of
Mm.
them are not natural. A lot of them use filters, but like there's a lot of money in it, and it's so
Mm.
interesting. So much of the stuff I see, and I'm just like, okay, just I'm just
It
gonna do my own little thing over
Yeah,
there.
it is such a skill. I have nothing but respect for influencers, and I poke fun, but only because I know that I couldn't do it. Because the thing is, like, if you want to be the type of influencer that has tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of followers, you need to be posting two, three times a day, and you need to be posting reels and short form content and posts and stories and like setting up like brand opportunities and networking and this. And I think that what intimidates me most about influencing is the fact that in a way you are the product. And I know that acting is the same. I'm aware of the irony of that. But acting, I feel like Mio is the product. I think Lupa in
hmm
Wuthering Waves is the product. I think Mio is the product. I don't feel like I am selling myself, but I think with influencing, you have to be so connected to your own self, and you are the brand. People will only follow
hmm
you if they want to listen to you. They're not listening to
Yeah.
your character; they're listening to you, and you need to build a character that presents to the world. And I think I would find that really challenging. And then on top of that, what is the new Instagram algorithm? How do I hack this algorithm to be
Yep.
constantly on the explore for you pages of certain types of people? And it is such a hustle that I'm not willing to or ready to commit to. And people make influencing sound really easy, but it's not. And you can make lots of money, but you are spending hours worrying or thinking about how to present yourself. And I think you have to be really strong here in order to do that in a healthy manner.
Yeah, that's one of the things I would say about being an influencer and content creator. It's very easy to lose yourself in that,
Mm.
constantly looking at metrics, like, oh my God, I didn't reach enough people, I didn't get enough hits on
Mm.
this post. And then it's like, oh, do you take shortcuts? There's a lot of people I know that are influencers and content creators. They pay for their shit. They pay for their views. They
Yeah.
pay for their
And
follows. They pay
and
for
why
all that.
not? I understand that because if you
Yeah.
know, and even for actors, if you know that having 50,000 followers or 10, 20,000 followers on your Instagram is going to book you the next job, why wouldn't you pay for
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Why would, it makes so much sense.
And it's so interesting because so many people will be like, "Oh, but you're gaming the system if you do this," and I'm just like, I mean,
People have been gaming systems since the dawn of systems.
I know, right? So it's like, it's so funny because I'm like, man, like the days of, oh god, this is such peeling back the curtain. The days of organic reach with how algorithms have been tailored, especially over the last decade, it's almost non-existent now.
Mm.
Like it's just because like now everyone is on social media. It's different than when it so God, I'm so old. When social media first came out, it's just like just random people interacting, but we still were not as connected as we are now. But now it's like everything. Everyone's technically in some way an influencer. But
Mm.
the biggest thing, like what I'm saying, like in losing yourself is you have to create a persona and pretty much you're stuck as that person. Like me as Mekel Casanova versus me as Mekel Faltea, two different people.
Mhm.
But, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, all right, I've done this content creator influencer thing for 13, 14 years. I'm like, all right, I like my privacy. So, and that's another thing is like a lot of people don't think about it is like you're constantly under a microscope. Any and everything you
Mm.
do,
Mhm.
you're under a microscope. And it's like, there's a lot of people like, oh, what's going on in your personal life? None of your business.
Yeah.
None. no,
Yeah.
no.
And
That's off
it
limits.
must be so hard for you to establish that boundary because people think that they're getting close to you, right?
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're
Oh
doing your
yeah.
job well, people will want to befriend you and they see you as their mentor, they see you as their friend, they see you as their brother, that you know, and yeah. I mean, you must be doing it really well though, because look at where you are.
I mean, okay, so the interesting thing is like when it comes to the social media aspect, I will admit I have fallen off just because I don't keep up with all the algorithms. But at this
Mm.
point, like doing the consultation stuff, I'm like, okay, so Dave, I've said this so many times, but David Hayter, who does Solid Snake in the Metal Gear series, one of my best
Hmm.
friends, he calls me the voice whisperer. He's like, "Man, you're like the broker. You know everyone. You're connected. You do all this stuff." I'm like,
Mm.
"Yeah." I said, "But I like doing that. I like being the guy who connects people. I like being, you know, the consultant and all that because it's more fun not being in the spotlight." Because
I
there's a
see what
lot
you're
of people who are
saying.
like they'll look at, oh, your Instagram's not that big, or your Twitter or X, whatever it is now, oh, it's not that big. But how do you know these people? I'm the voice whisperer. It is what it is.
Listen, he's here, he's there, he's everywhere. And he doesn't need like 50 million followers on Instagram to do that.
No, no, no. It's like it's so much more fun not being under that microscope. And it's
Mm.
like there are times where I'm like, I wouldn't mind going viral for this or that, but I'm like, no, just I like
You
what I
know,
do.
and then the thing with virality is that it comes and it goes. So I have a friend of mine
Yes.
who's a really like, you know, she's a musician and she posted a reel and it was really funny and it was using a very like popular format at the time. It was like a 5 second video, which means that it replays over and over on Instagram with a long caption. So it will get lots of views, which will boost it on the algorithm. And she has what, maybe like hundreds of thousands of views and likes and comments on this Instagram video reel, despite having maybe 3,000 followers at the time. Her Instagram boosts to like 10,000 followers. And then, of course, every video after that is back to the original 100 likes, 200 likes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's maybe another thing that's changed is that you can reach peak viral on social media now, and then your next video will be irrelevant. And it
Yep.
will grow your page maybe by about 500, maybe 1,000. If you're lucky, maybe 10,000 followers. But that is still not enough to make you an influencer on the map. And then
Yeah.
in order to then suddenly you're chasing it again because that must have been a dopamine rush. Like, okay, how can I build the next reel that will hack the algorithm in this way to get this amount of attention? And I have nothing but admiration and respect for the people who can craft that. But
Mm-hmm.
I think learning to manage the resource of human attention is wizardry, and I don't have time for
Yeah.
it. I don't have time for it right now. I'm busy. I'm busy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also too like with attention spans just like dwindling at this point.
Mm,
Like you have to capture people's attention within 5 to 10 seconds before they swipe off. And it's
yeah.
like the, going touching on what you were saying about the, the virality, it's not sustainable,
No.
and it's like you can have something that pops off here and within hours or a day, people forget about it. And it's like, it's almost like nothing really has staying power anymore. And I know so many influencers and creators that are chasing that and chasing that over and over and over. And especially clients of mine. And I'm like, no, don't enjoy it when it happens, but understand that's anomaly within, because eventually these platforms will cap your growth on certain things. Like, okay, you
Mm,
hit this, we gotta put you right back here so you can
hmm.
work really hard, get more people on our platform to get up here, and then we're gonna knock you back down. And it's like
Hmm.
you're spoke on a wheel at that point.
Yeah. And I do you find it challenging or do you find it disheartening, this kind of hamster wheel? Or have you
Oh,
decided that you're not really involved in that at all?
well, now as of the last 2.5 years, I've decided to not really be involved in it. And it's just because at one point I was really obsessed with it. It kind of consumed me. And then when I got my second bout of cancer, and they were like, "Oh, you got
Mm,
stage 3 colorectal cancer. You got 6 months to live." And I was like, "Oh, well, shit. Okay, all right. Let's put things in perspective. Is this really important? No. Why am I losing myself, my sanity, mental health over this that I can't? It's a number that I can't grasp. There's no tangibility to it.
yeah,
So I had to put things in perspective. So for me now, I'm like, it's not worth it. But there's so
yeah,
many people I know that are chasing it and losing themselves and destroying their mental health, their relationships for this. And it's like when you put, I tell people to crunch numbers. Like, for instance, YouTube, I've got over 52,000 subscribers on there. A lot of people are like, oh, that's a low number. No, it's not. It's like less than like 1% of people can make it to, well, 90, the numbers are 97, less, well, 97% of creators never make it to 1,000 subscribers. Um, 99% of creators never make it to 100,000.
mm,
0.3% of people actually, or creators ever make it to 50 or above. So I'm like, if you're looking at it from that based on the percentages, I'm in the higher end. It's
hmm,
just you're constantly based on your viewing habits, it's showing you people within your niche, and you're probably looking at the top. You're not looking at the people starting and trying to grow and grind.
hmm,
And it's like the algorithms can be very disheartening. That people are
yeah,
like, oh, I worked so hard on this and I don't get any views. This person half-assed it, low quality content that did good. And I tell people, do low quality content. Stop caring about it. Just record it, put it out there. Because right now it's about consumption. So you got to put out 2, 3 reels, shorts, videos. You just got to put it out there. And if something
yeah,
sticks, it sticks. And it's like, it sucks, but especially with AI coming in, yeah, it's hard.
yeah. And even the validation that you do get from like a really hit video, it is a validation that will last for about 10 seconds. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, what about the next time? And the joy you get from it is fleeting and uh, not authentic and not based in any
Yeah.
kind of reality. And I'm really happy for you that you've made that discovery for yourself.
Yeah. Okay, last question I have for you might be a little bit of a controversial one because this
Go
is
on.
just the one that's taking over the internet.
Hmm.
AI, how do you feel about it?
Um, that is a very broad question. Okay, let's put it like this. Uh, AI, how, where, why, what? Um,
Okay.
I don't think that you can blanket statement AI is bad because probably it will, as it develops and probably in ways that are already functioning that we're not aware of, it will improve the quality of life. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that it can save lives, and I'm sure that it will improve medical services. Perhaps it will improve on human error in medical services or in science. Yeah, it can be a force for good, but likewise, it can be a force for evil when used
Mm-hmm.
to push workers out of jobs. In
Yeah.
the acting industry, for example, I'm part of my trade union in the UK called Equity. Equity are currently campaigning to limit the use of AI, voices in particular in voiceover, to replace voiceover actors in games, like phone line voice narration, documentary narration. All of these different jobs are being pushed away from us because AI can do it. Perhaps not as effectively, but I think in this
Mm-hmm.
climate, a lot of production companies are interested in cutting costs. And yet we've seen now with the success of split fiction that choosing us to have me and Elsie in the room together was not cost effective, but it is part of the magic of the game. So I hope that at least for the creative industries, people will realize that people want to watch people. People want to watch what is truthful and grounded in reality and grounded in the messiness of humanity and all of
Yeah.
its quirks and all of its complexities that perhaps AI will be able to recreate, but I think people will always know that they are interested in watching what other people do. And so my hope is that it won't push me out of my job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it can be as simple as AI bad, progression, technological progression bad. But I do hope that we as people will be able to find ways to use it in a productive manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely needs checks and balances.
Mm,
I've had a lot of conversations with people who really don't understand how AI works. I got to work with Razer. I want to say 1 or 2 years ago on a campaign that they have for like AI generative software. I think it's Razer Axon or something.
hmm
They paid me to do that promotion for it and a review and a how to. And I had so many people that were coming out of the woodwork of the creators and people like, oh, it's AI. How can you be promoting something like that? And blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, well, here's the thing. If you blanket term AI, you don't know how to define what it all does and what all sectors is in. And
hmm
they're like, no, but AI is just bad. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, work with me with this. If you're typing out something and auto generates, what do you think that is? Well, that's generative prediction. It's AI. I'm
Yeah.
like, autocorrect is AI. We've
Yeah.
had that for a long time.
Yeah.
AI in games, AI in all kinds of stuff has been around for decades. The only thing is the chat GPT era of AI and all this Google VO3 and all this other stuff literally kind of just got dropped on us
hmm
with no warm up. And we're kind of like, that's stuff we would see in movies. That's just like, no. I mean, people are like, I think Google VO is like $20 a month. And people are just typing out stuff and it's just generating this realistic stuff. And you have to really keenly look to be like, is that real? And I feel like that is where we're getting into dangerous territory because you can tell it to say anything, it can replicate looking like anyone.
hmm
That is where I feel like we need to have the checks and balances
A
because
100%
that can create a
dangerous.
lot of it's incredibly dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, and I think it's great that schools. My mum was working at a secondary school in Hong Kong, and she was taking part in AI literacy classes, and I think that's amazing because we're gonna have a generation of kids now entering the professional world who hopefully will understand some of these intricacies, will be able to use platforms like you know like that for good to help them with their work, to be more effective in goal setting, life planning, even investing. Like there are so many great ways to use it, but I do hope that there will be a real system for its management,
yeah.
checks and balances, as you were saying. Because yeah, it do be a wild west out there.
It is, and it's like now that which is kind of one of the reasons I'm shifting out of being a influencer slash content creator and going more into like the consultation and other stuff that I'm doing is because there are AI influencers out there. People have no idea some of the folks that they watch as far as like streamers and content
Yeah.
creators are AI.
And
Like
they
I've
have
gone
talent
to
agents and everything. Talent agents who
yeah,
rep these AI creators.
yeah. I'm like it's to a point. Okay, so I was at a CES trade show earlier this year, and I went there. I went in this room off the showroom floor, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to meet someone." I went in the room. They're like, "Oh, just sit here." And then like it's on the screen. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a video chat session." And so I'm talking to this person who or influencer, content creator. I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is a real person." And then when it was done, there's like whatever program end, and I'm like, wait, program end? And they're like, yeah, you've been talking to an AI influencer. I was like, wait, what?
You didn't, and
Yeah,
you didn't spot it.
no, 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 I could not. It had inflection, movement, cadence. I literally, it joked like, I was like, what? They're like, yeah, it has this predictive, like, type of, it reads your reactions on the fly and processes that data and then starts whatever. It knows how to react in specific ways based on you. And I'm like, okay, that shit's scary.
That's scary because,
That's
oh my God,
yeah.
that must have messed you up. You were like,
It did.
I am never trusting my instinct ever again.
I'm like, I'm usually a good judge of people, but at this point, I'm like, yeah, my days at this, and this is what I kind of tell content creators and influencers. I'm like, if you
I,
don't get a skill set, I don't know how much longer we got. Maybe 5, 6 years. I don't
yeah.
know.
And you were there like, oh, I'm vibing with them. This is a vibe. The conversation is on point. Maybe we have a bit of chemistry.
Right? I'm
What if I
like,
told you that
oh, okay.
I am AI?
I'm like, hey, it is what it is. At this
It
point,
is what it
let me pour some gin and juice now.
is. No, listen, real material biological person drinking fluids.
Oh goodness. So the last question I have for you, and before we wrap everything up, is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go?
Mm. Yes, I would like to say to the split fiction fans out there, uh, that a massive thank you from me for sharing the way that you've been receiving this game. I was expecting it to be a success, but I suppose I wasn't expecting for it to move so many people, on a deeper emotional, personal level. I know that Mio's character, for example, can be a little bit like, you know, oil and water in that you either relate to her or you don't. And that is okay. But I've received quite a few messages from people who are really moved by Mio's transformation and growth and watching her journey of learning to trust Zoe and allow some love and light into her life, and hearing from the fans about how that made them reflect on their own situations has been incredibly moving to me, and I'm so grateful to be part of that journey with you. And yeah, spread the love. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Yeah.
yeah. Secret last question. Did you have fun just now?
Just now,
Yeah.
100%. I've had such a great time. I thank
Yeah.
you. This has been so lovely. I've really enjoyed this. I'm so happy that we met.
Yeah, we definitely got to do that. Definitely got to get you out here to Hawaii for the
Yeah.
conventions we have.
Yeah.
So, let me know if you want me to connect you with them. We have 3 major conventions out here: KawaiiCon, Comic Con Honolulu, and Amazing Comic Con Honolulu. KawaiiCon is typically the biggest one. We just had the Baldur's Gate 3 cast out here.
Mm.
We had Street Fighter 6 cast and Spy Family and
Oh my gosh.
what's the other one we had? The One Piece cast
Oh
out here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
brother would have loved to be there. He would have loved
Yeah.
that. I hope I can come
Yeah.
and meet you then.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely connect you and see if we can get that happening. Get you and Elsie out here and
Yeah.
yeah, I'll take you guys around. So with that being said, where can people find you?
On
Plug everything.
Instagram. Yes, okay. Instagram at Kaja.Chan at KAJA.CHAN is probably the best place to reach me. Um, yeah, I think that's the place. That is the place. That is the place to reach me.
That's the place.
That's the place. And sometimes
All
I've
right.
got loads of messages, so I can't, reply to everyone, but I am reading. I'm reading all the messages from fans, so don't be scared to write.
Awesome. And with that being said, people, that's this. I can't even do my outro.
This is
Jesus
the end
Christ, what
of
is going on?
the podcast that we don't know the name of, despite it being literally your name.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. That's how you know I have been up for 30 hours. This is crazy.
Mm.
Anyways, yes, people, that is this episode of the Casanova podcast. All right. So with that being said, you can find links to my guest's social media platform as well as her IMDb and everything else. And also shout out to Spotify for sponsoring this podcast. And also, I'm the only podcast in Hawaii that's sponsored by Spotify. So big shout out to you guys for that. People, I need you to leave or at least migrate from Apple Podcasts to Spotify because I got thousands of people that listen to this every single day on Apple Podcasts. They don't want to go to Spotify. I don't know. Come on, guys. Help me out here. All that being said, though, Kaya, it's an absolute blast having you on the show. We got to have you
Oh,
on
thank
again. You know, definitely when you start your fitness influencing. I'm kidding.
I mean, listen. I need to get to a point where I'm regular at the gym before I can even think about that. I was sat here thinking, oh God, now I have to go to the gym. Do I have it in me today? I think I do.
You do. You do. So with that being said, people, we will catch you on the next one. Mahalo for your time for listening to this episode of the Kasanova podcast, number one podcast in Hawaii. If you found this episode to be incredibly enjoyable, informative, or if there's anything you gain from it or any insight or, anything that's good that you really, really enjoyed, make sure whatever platform you're listening to it on, or if you're watching it, leave a comment if that's available on the platform, like it, share it around with someone you think would enjoy it, and give us some feedback because your feedback is exactly what we need to keep this show going. And if you're wondering what are some ways that you could support the show, we got various ways. We've got Patreon, we have channel memberships over on YouTube, as well as Subscribestar, Coffee, and so much more. Links for everything will be in the description of the podcast, so make sure you go check that out. And with all that being said, I hope you have an aloha rest of your day.
Let them know that I'm next level. I'm a whole new kind of guy. Yeah. Yes, at the top spot in case you forgot. We the ones that got the block hot, bullet got the shot. Yeah.